Welcome to the Paint Spot. My name is Kim Furbatten, and I'm here in our gallery with artist Melissa Barron. Her current exhibition, Studying the Sky, reminds us if we need inspiration, we need only look up. Welcome, Melissa. Thanks for sharing your work with us. Tell us more about you.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks so much for having me here today. It's such an exciting opportunity. So I'm an artist and an educator living in Edmonton, Alberta. And I have studied here in Edmonton at the U of A in printmaking especially, but I've also studied in Sydney, Australia in classical techniques. So this has influenced my painting, and I create art both in a realistic and an expressive style. And while I was traveling, I started watercolor painting as well, plein air. And this has informed my painting now too.
Skies are pretty amazing, and clouds have so much symbolism. Why are you drawn to painting them?
Skies are just such a wonderful thing to work with. And the story of how I started painting skies begins with me teaching at the high school in Beaumont. And basically, each morning I would drive from my home in Edmonton over and across the dark fields to the city of Beaumont, where I was teaching at the time. And I started to notice on these drives that every morning the sun would start to rise, and especially in the wintertime, the sun doesn't just rise and light up the eastern sky, it lights up the entire southern sky. And as a result, I'd be driving to work each morning, and the sky would just be filled with color, and I'd be moving into this color each day. It was a really beautiful way to start the day. I don't know how you couldn't paint skies after having that experience. The other reason that I'm drawn to skies is because for some time now, my work has been interested in exploring this idea of things that are both constant and things that change. And skies definitely fit this description. All you need to do in order to see the sky is to step outdoors, or even just to look out the window and it's there. At the same time, the sky is never the same twice. It's always changing. And I think that this is a really interesting metaphor for the best relationships that we have in our lives. We have these people in our world that we love so dearly, and they're constant, they're always there. At the same time, they're always changing, they're evolving and growing, and just when you learn something new about somebody, they've changed again, and there's something new to discover. And so skies are a way to explore this dynamic, I guess, through a metaphor.
Oh, tell me more about the value I find, and I see that you do too, is many sketches, many preliminary works. Tell me the importance of that and how that inspires your bigger pieces.
So I think that's an interesting remark, because about the fact that some artists may be intimidated about painting skies, because to me it's all paint. You know, it doesn't matter what you're painting. It's all about value, colors, edges, and shapes. And so, you know, even when you're painting a sky, if you're thinking about trying skies but you're feeling intimidated by it, don't be. You know, just think about it the same way you would when you're painting your dog, your apple, a person. It's color, value, shapes, and edges. For me, having that background in figurative work, and my students know this very well too, we do a lot of sketches, and sketches are great. One of the things I like about sketches is that it gives you an opportunity to make mistakes, to get over any fear you feel about tackling a subject. It makes it so that the work isn't precious, and not that making art isn't precious, it is, it's wonderful, but it's not the last drawing or painting that you're ever going to do. You know you're going to do more, and you know you're going to do a lot more. And because of that, I think that we become a little bit more willing to take risks and to move into that zone where we're really learning. For me, at one point, it also became a bit of a challenge. You know, I started off by thinking, I wonder if I could do 30 studies of clouds. That seems crazy, that seems like so many. And then I did it, and it wasn't so crazy anymore. So then I thought, well, what about 100? I wonder if I could do 100. That seems nuts. But it wasn't. I was able to do that, and I just kept on kind of setting the bar again and again, and before you know it, you have more cloud studies than you know what to do with.
Color plays a big part of your work. Is it nature or your palette that inspires you?
such a great question. I had to really think about this, about, you know, where does color come from? And I think it's both. I really think it's both. And since starting to paint the sky, I have begun to really pay attention to the light in the world around me. And I love observing every day how the light changes. You know, it's maybe reflecting off of a building differently today. It changes from season to season. That today, you know, the leaves have all fallen, and now we see this grass and it's yellow. And because the grass is quite yellow, the branches on the trees look slightly purple. Well, they didn't look purple yesterday because there was orange and brown leaves on them. And so I love observing all those different changes. When I do my cloud studies, so my cloud studies are these little guys here. When I do these cloud studies, I do work from reference photos. And these are a great tool to help me remember the shape of the clouds in the sky and to get a better idea of what some of the values might be. But a camera is not a perfect tool. Camera doesn't record all the nuances of color. And you'll know this if you've ever taken a photo of the sunrise and then looked at the sky and looked at your phone, and unless it's like a really, really, really good camera, those two things are going to look totally different. So I've learned to pay very close attention to what's happening in the world around me and then to try to remember it. So part of that inspiration comes from nature, absolutely. But when it comes to some more expressive pieces, like this one here, you might not have ever seen that color combination in the sky. And that does come from imagination. And what I've noticed from doing these expressive paintings is that the color begins to take on meaning. And I'm feeling like this color is becoming like a language of its own. And I'm really curious and interested to see how that's going to continue to develop as I continue with this theme.
Why did you choose oil paints for this project?
Because you're a printmaker, you've done watercolor, and now you've jumped into oils.
Yes.
What is it about oils that suits clouds?
Oh, yeah. I think oil paint is like the best thing in the world. Like right up there with puppies and chocolates.
Oh, yeah.
So I think for me, it's just a really great click. It just fits for me. Of course, oil paint takes longer to dry than something like acrylic paint does. So, you know, you can blend. Clouds often have these really soft, ethereal edges, and for me, oil paint is a good fit for that. I think it's just my own personal preference. I do often have a lot of layers that go into a piece, though. So, for instance, with this piece here, you can see some of the texture in the background, and because I do so much layering, and the underneath layers are often very saturated. I like using acrylic paint for those initial layers because if you're trying to do a lot of layers in oil, you have to be really careful about how you're mixing your mediums into it. And for me, it's been simpler and more direct to work with the acrylic first, and then you have some really saturated underpainting, which informs the later layers.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, brush shapes. Filbert, flat, or round? Where are you on brushes for clouds?
Yeah, I love a good round brush, and I love a good filbert brush. Flat brushes for me, don't use them too much, maybe a little bit for the background work. But I think if you're thinking about painting clouds and all you have at home is a flat brush, then go for it. You know, it's how you use the tool, and you could make any painting using any tool, and it's how you use it that really matters. Yeah.
Right. So you have a social media contest, which is kind of exciting, and we've had a few takers on it. Just talk a little bit about what you hope it inspires people to do.
So in this time of COVID, it's a little bit strange to have an art show. It's super exciting. My work isn't really doing anything if it's sitting in a closet at home. It's not really having that opportunity to make connections with people and inspire people. So we decided to do a social media contest to say thank you to people that are coming out to this show in spite of the COVID. So the way that it works is it's super easy. All that you have to do is, first of all, come to the paint spots, and then while you're here, check out the art, take a good look around, and find your favorite painting. Pick one that you really connect with, that resonates with you, and then you get to take a selfie with it. From there, what you're going to do is post it to social media, Instagram, Facebook, both are good. And here's the important part. You want to make sure that you tag me and also tag the paint spots. Okay, so my handle is at melissabarron_art for Instagram, and Facebook is Melissa Barron, and the paint spot is at paintspot.ca and the paint spot on Facebook. So that's all you need to do. And if you enter the contest, then you get to win a cloud study. So we'll have a cloud study for one person. We'll do a draw at the end of the month.
I find small studies very exciting. Sometimes they have a very fresh take on works, and they're beautiful in themselves. So I'm really glad that Melissa is sharing her small studies with us. It also is a nice way if you think you can't afford a large piece, and believe me, all of these are very affordable, but if you're looking for gifts this Christmas, these little studies are quite gems. And we have a stack of frames that are between $10 and $15. Pop a little painting in a frame like this, and it's the perfect gift. So please come down and pick out your piece while you're coming and doing the contest. You might win one. Remember, the exhibition runs until November 24th. See you soon.